So I figured it would be fun to do a Q&A for the 10,000 subscriber milestone. I also had a couple of people hassling me to do it, so why not? If you missed the community post, feel free to pop a question in the comments and I'll answer there. Hopefully everyone watching at this point is familiar with the fact that I try to answer as many questions as I can in the comments of my videos. In the background of the video, I'll just have a bunch of gameplay clips that I'm kicking about that I didn't really have any use for, and also some clips of the guinea pigs, which leads me straight to the first question. Have I had any guinea pigs in the past and what are their names? So my wife and I have had multiple guinea pigs in the past. Side note, if you get guinea pigs, you should always get more than one. They have a tendency to get lonely and depressed on their own. Right now we have Freddy, Daphne and Velma, who also feature in the channel banner, and Freddy of course also features in the channel icon. Next question I thought would be good to give the kind of channel update sort of spiel. That is, what's my end goal and did I expect to get this big? So I don't know if anyone starting a YouTube channel expects it to go anywhere. Even if you have faith in what you're making, you don't really know if anyone is going to be interested and if the algorithm is ever going to give you a chance. When I started uploading, I did so primarily because I enjoyed the idea of making the videos. Without that, I would have burnt out very quickly. I did think there was a gap potentially for some more technical play-by-play top-tier commentary and guides. There's a lot of excellent videos covering the basics, but I thought there was room for more depth in the Fox Free stuff. It took me a bit to figure out a good formula. I originally did freeze frames and text overlays. Whilst I think that was good for conveying information, it limits how much content you can fit in a video. It's a lot more effort to edit, and well, when I transitioned to voiceover, that's when my channel started blowing up. As for my end goal, I don't really have one. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd be able to quit my day job, right, and put a lot more effort into the videos and upload more frequently. At the moment, the time I put into it is about as much as I can manage. I guess when the channel started picking up traction, I decided my kind of end goal is getting to 100k for the play button. I think that would be a really cool achievement, and it's something that I'd personally be super proud of. But my take is that if it happens, it happens. I'm trying to go at a pace that I find sustainable rather than trying to pump out videos as fast as I can. I have a few video ideas that I want to do. Problem is just finding the time to do it. The benefit of tournament videos and AirRB commentary videos is I get all the footage just by playing the game normally. Anything more focused often requires time that I just don't have to collect specific footage. I also frequently get questions like this asking if I plan on streaming. It's not an outright never situation, but it's unlikely, especially just streaming on my own. I don't really consider myself an entertainer, and I'd struggle to offer the same sort of commentary as I do in my videos live. And to be honest, I think I'd just hate doing it. Having to be switched on and engaging with an audience over multiple hours would massively drain me. I just don't really have the social battery for that kind of thing. I mentioned that I thought there was room for more depth in top tier RRB videos, and that kind of leads me to this question asking if I have a tip that I've not seen on YouTube before. So not really, because this question kind of touches on the whole reason I started uploading anyway. I hadn't seen tons of content talking about notching, for example, beyond 90 degrees in chaff, because with things like angle gating, IOG and data link especially, there's a lot more depth that not many people seem to talk about much. To be fair, I don't watch a lot of other content these days because I don't have tons of time, so maybe that's changed, but I don't think anyone else really gets into the same depth with the notching mechanics, ER versus Fox rejousting, for example, data link and stuff like that. It's interesting actually because I'm kind of known as the technical BVR guy these days, when I don't actually care a huge amount about the game data unless it's to support or confirm and observe behavior in the game. I'm going off on a tangent here, but one of my biggest pet peeves is people arguing in Discord servers referencing something in the game files to support a point when the behavior you can observe in-game completely disproves it. A good example of this is the data link behavior in look down versus look up Fox 3 shots. I often see people referencing the game files saying there's no difference and no such thing as the PD filter shutting off, for example. And well, technically maybe that's true, I don't really know, because my whole point is I don't really care what is or isn't true regarding the game data and the specifics of, you know, the different lines of how the seeker behaves, because Fox 3s demonstrably behave differently if they're looking up versus when they're looking down. Evidence from playing the game is primary, evidence from game data is secondary, and that's kind of my whole philosophy on it all. The thing is like if someone's interpretation of the game files suggests that maybe some kind of observed behavior doesn't happen, is kind of irrelevant because the observed behavior does happen, right? Anyway, I'm trailing off now, so let's move on to some slightly unhinged questions. Twice a day, no exceptions. Yes. Well, my wife says I'm a very good cuddler, and I'm honestly happy as big or little spoon. I don't think you should limit your options in these regards. Best waifu. I don't really play much Japanese stuff, but either way, my answer regardless would be Y'shtola from Final Fantasy XIV, of course. If my actual wife is watching this, then of course it's you, though. And everyone knows this is the Buccaneer, obviously. Next up are a bunch of questions regarding how I got into War Thunder, why I like it, and how I got into tournaments. So I got into War Thunder pretty much just through IRL friends. We used to play props in arcade very badly back in 2020. Then I kind of played it on and off until about 2 years ago when I started really focusing on ARB. The update when we got the F-15 Gripen and Flanker, then the Fox 3 update after that is what really hooked me. I got good at ARB just through persistent gameplay, to be honest. I watched a lot of YouTubers as well to learn the basics of all the radar mechanics and things like that. So Defin, obviously. I think Tim's Variety is great for giving detailed info on the basics, and I'm also a big fan of Jake for technical stuff. One thing I recommend people do a lot is if you ever don't know what went wrong, watch your replays back in Sense of You. I do that an absolute ton these days, and it really helps you get to grips with notching mechanics. Getting into tournaments then is how I got better at the game beyond that, mainly through playing and interacting with many very good players. I didn't actually know tournaments really existed until November last year. Basically, Zeus from Team Mythical, which was Boys in Hell at the time, came across my videos on his YouTube recommendations. He decided I wasn't a complete idiot, and Carlos got me to join up. If you want to try and get into tournaments yourself, or get some help with the game in general, I have both a Looking for Team and Help channel on my Discord server, which you can check out. Oh, and my favourite burger is a pork and chorizo burger I make from scratch. Maybe I'll treat you to a cooking video one day. A little bit of lore for you, as I used to be a chef. Now, for the question of why I like War Thunder, I'm going to lead into some of the other questions I had. So first up is why I prefer War Thunder over other Sims and games, and the point about balance between some semblance of realism and arcade is pretty much it. I've never really played any proper Sims before because I don't really want to without a hot ass or head tracking setup. Playing it on a controller, sort of like as like a half measure, doesn't really appeal to me. If I want to play a Sim, I want to have the full setup, but obviously, then there's actually committing to buying all that and putting the time in, which I'm just not really that fussed about right now. And then if we talk, say, Ace Combat for like the arcadey side, I did used to enjoy playing the campaigns in that, but that sort of style of gameplay and multiplayer never really appealed to me. That, and obviously it doesn't have a very big multiplayer scene anyway, so ARB and War Thunder is kind of the perfect combination of it all. The mouse aim system is pretty much what sets it apart from everything else. Next is, do I play other BRs? Occasionally, not so much these days. When I do, it's usually to research a new tree, but even that isn't something I really do anymore, as I kind of have everything at top tier in air except Italy. There is a few planes that I've enjoyed playing in the past, stuff like the F8U, the J7E, Yak 3, Spitfire F Mark 9, to name a few, but honestly, yeah, I haven't played these in a while, and I rarely, if ever, play stuff below top tier these days. Next is, do I play tanks, CAS or Sim? And the answer to all three of those is no. Obviously I mentioned why I don't play Sim already. Tanks and CAS, I mean, I used to play a lot of ground RB a couple of years ago, but I just got really fed up with it, and these days it has almost zero appeal to me. Maybe I'll try squadron battles one day, but don't count on it. As I'm editing this though, I remembered I have a ton of ground clips from a few years ago, so I figure I'll mix in some of these here for a bit of fun.
You suck. Oh, fuck you!
So this question is asking if cyclic targeting cycles through targets based on closure rate. To be honest, I have no idea. I don't think it's something that would really have any tangible impact on how you'd play, so I don't really have any motivation to test it. Even if it did work like this, you're probably still going to get fired at regardless in all the early game spam. And if you've given up a load of speed for the sake of it, then you don't really have any business going up high to BVR in the first place. Not to mention the fact they can still see your contrail anyway. Next is a ton of varied questions on some variation of my favourite plane, so I'll give a bunch of answers. My favourite IRL plane is the Eurofighter because, well, I'm British. As a side note, there was another question asking if I've been to any air shows. I've only been to one last year at Duxford in the UK where I got to see the Eurofighter, which was the first and only jet I've seen fly at an air show. I do want to go to more in future, but like IRL stuff isn't like, I'm not like super passionate about that sort of stuff. It's just sort of a passing interest. Then my favourite top tier, I never really think about this much, but I guess probably it is the 27SM. That maybe fits the category of being my favourite top tier that's also kind of mid. I mean, I don't consider it that mid, but we live in the world of Eurofighters and Rafales now, so yeah. For my favourite non-flanker top tier, that's probably the J10. Before Storm Warning especially, it felt like the sort of jack of all trades, perfect top tier air RB plane. Then I choose the planes I do in tournaments based on what I obviously think is best for the role I play. And in air RB, it's just whatever I think is fun or good, to be honest. I'll happily fly like 80% of the top tiers. Then also on the topic of planes, do I think the 30SM could get into a tournament lineup when the 14.0s get added as a kind of support plane? Probably not. Rafale and even the Euro are just too good for it to really compete. Sure, it can spam a lot of missiles and exert a lot of pressure, but what's to stop the enemy team just playing passive? It's not like you can reliably force long-range kills with Fox 3s. And when fired at someone high up with a lot of energy that the Rafale easily has, the Mika has sufficient range to force the Su-30 defensive anyway. And then when you get into the mid and late game, the Su-30 is just going to get bullied by a Rafale. Now the inevitable show us your keybinds questions. People seem to ask this routinely every video, so yes, I'm going to make a controls and settings video. I just need to figure out how to format it and, when I can take the time to actually put it together. It will probably just be me scrolling through the menus, talking through it all though, which I'm sure sounds like thrilling content. Next up, 2 questions. One asks if I'm a voice actor, and the other asks if I'm bothered by people calling my voice AI. For the former, no, I'm not a voice actor. I did do a bit of voiceover for a little cinematic legit bongo made not long ago, but other than that, no. Regarding the AI, I mean, it's only like 1 or 2 comments that have said that. It's not really a common thing I get. I mean, it doesn't bother me, honestly, I just find it funny. I don't get many unpleasant or bad comments, but to be honest, when I do, I just find them entertaining. I don't really get angry much these days, especially, when it's online stuff. Like, people being stupid in YouTube comments is incredibly trivial to me. If it's like a bad take about the game, I'll try to correct people frequently, but if they double down, then I just kind of shrug and move on with my life. But yeah, like regarding the few people that say my voice is AI, yeah, I just find that funny, honestly. Last few questions, I'm just going to reel them off. First one is, am I a friend of GP? Who's GP? Max Verstappen's race engineer? No, he is not, sadly. Favourite gun mounted on a plane? Honestly, I don't really care, so I'm just pulling this one out of nowhere. Probably the Duck for obvious reasons. Should I rebrand to MiG R27ER? I mean, yeah, it's much more on brand with my content, I suppose. Sadly, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Where is MiG Fox 2? In my basement. He is not allowed out. This Scott guy is just fishing for compliments. He makes a shit bacon sandwich. How do you become my paid actor? Well, that's not a channel member perk, sadly. But if you do become a channel member, you get a special private channel on my Discord server. So that's the best I can offer. Best Jet Strike player is Kralos SB. Sorry for the in-joke, 90% of you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But on topic, the man himself asks if I can get the Rafale buff, so make sure to say mean things about him in the comments. And that's all for today. I'm recording the outro before checking how long this has dragged on for, so hopefully it hasn't been too bad. I was kind of expecting more off-topic personal questions than just War Thunder related stuff, although I suppose I should probably be thankful for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time. Oh, this one popped up just before I was about to export. Yeah, Sab's the GOAT.